vertical and come underneath the left arm like this. And then come back to vertical. And then come underneath the left arm back to horizontal. And then come back to vertical. And then come back down to horizontal. It actually looks like you have more control of this one. And bring it back to vertical. And one more time, come down to horizontal. And then come back up to vertical. Only for the right arm, when it comes down to horizontal, you're going to come on top of the right arm. And then come back to vertical. And then come down on top of the right arm. And back to vertical. And on top of the right arm. And back to vertical. And one more time, bring it down on top of the right arm. And back to vertical. Okay, let's try putting it together. It's vertical like this, and we're going to drop it on the right arm like this, back to vertical like this. So it's vertical, tip it to the right, let it fall on the right arm, get it horizontal with the right on bottom, and bring it back up to vertical. That's better. And bring it down to horizontal on the right. And bring it back up to vertical. And gradually bring it down to horizontal on the right. Bring it back up to vertical. And bring it down to horizontal on the right. And back up to vertical. So now starting in underhand, pushing away from you at the bottom to start it. So yeah, so it's underhand with the left hand, yes. And then what we're going to do is let it fall on top of the left arm. So it'll be horizontal with the left on bottom. And then bring it back up to vertical. And then we're going to let it come down to horizontal again on top of the left arm. And then bring it up to vertical. And bring it back down to horizontal, let it fall down on top of the left arm. And bring it back up to vertical. And then one more time from vertical, bring it down to horizontal on top of the left arm. And then back up to vertical. Starting in underhand, we're going to let it fall underneath the right arm into anti-clockwise. And bring it up to vertical, into underhand. And then let it fall to the left, come underneath the right arm in anti-clockwise. And then back up to vertical. And then we're going to let it fall again in anti-clockwise. And bring it back up to vertical. And then one more time, let it fall into anti-clockwise. And then back up to vertical. So starting with it in underhand, we're going to tip it to the left, so the left is on bottom and the right is on top. And then bring it back up to vertical. And then you're going to tip it to the left, come down to horizontal. And then come back up to vertical. And tip it again. Down to horizontal, left is on bottom, right is on top. And back up to vertical. And then one more time, we'll tip it to the left, come down to horizontal. And then back up to vertical. Was right on bottom, left on top. And we went from this into the counterclockwise corkscrew. All right, so we had the right on bottom, left on top, and we went into the counterclockwise corkscrew. So you let your right arm drop below and then come up above both of them. Yeah, nice. And then from here, let your left arm drop below, then your right arm drop in between, then bring your left in between so that your left is on bottom and your right is on top. Nice. And then go back into your corkscrew and right on bottom, left on top in the buzzsaw. And then come into the corkscrew again, right leading it in, and then we'll go back into the buzzsaw. Right comes between the arm and the left one follows. And then back into the corkscrew. When you are in the corkscrew, I'll go slow. When you're in the corkscrew, the right one is going to come between the arm while the left one is below. And then the left one comes between the arm directly after. So here it is, you're in the corkscrew. And now, not this one, not this one, but this next one, I'm going to come in between like this. So corkscrew, corkscrew, corkscrew. Yeah, there you go. And then into your buzzsaw. Now go back into your corkscrew, and now your other buzzsaw right on bottom. Think of it as your right hand leading. So when you're in the corkscrew for this one, instead of, when your right goes above your arm, make sure that your arm stays below your left arm. So you want to lift, you're in the corkscrew, when the right goes below the arm, lift the left arm so that the right one can come underneath it. Lift the left arm so the right one can come underneath it. Yeah, yeah. Now I feel like you have the gross level technique. The next thing to do is to refine the movement. What I'm noticing is whichever hand, and it's interesting that it seems to be your bottom hand, not your top hand, when you are going into the buzzsaw with the left on bottom, instead of having it flat like this, it's looking like this, where the left hand is almost vertical. So one thing that can help is pushing back and forth. Now I'm exaggerating it a little, but you should see me doing a little forward backward pushing to maintain the plane. And I'm pushing, if you were to imagine it as a clock, I'm pushing when the poi is going, because it's anti-clockwise, when the poi is going from 6 through 3 o'clock, I'm pushing forward towards the 12 o'clock position to keep it flat. Yes.